The Bold and Beautiful, show 4670, VTR 9/27/2005.
Betray your trust.
Does that ring a bell?
Oh, come on, Stephanie.
Would you like me to spell it for you?
You bribe a doctor with $1 million of my money. You poison my daughter's marriage after swearing you'll keep your mouth shut, and you're accusing me of betraying you?
You have deceived all of us. Abandoned all of us by marrying Brooke.
I'm not having this conversation.
All right, then let's talk about trust. Have you betrayed my trust?
Your childhood sweetheart, she's all yours. Be sure she doesn't miss that plane to Boca Raton.
Do I have to muzzle you?
Why shouldn't that slut and Eric find out that they don't own this company?
Because the Stephanie Douglas Trust is years old. We have no idea what's happened legally over all that time.
I want you to get that lawyer of yours over here right now. I'm not going to leave this room until I know exactly what this document means.
Fine.
Damn it.
What's the matter?
Is strangulation still against the law?
Why? I thought Megan said everything went so well.
Oh, the runway competition went fine. We beat Spectre. It was great. Did I get 10 minutes to enjoy it? No. Stephanie's laying in wait in my office.
Oh my God. I thought she was moving to Florida.
Yeah, keep reminding me.
She is, isn't she?
Yes, I'm sure.
Good. It's kind of hard to imagine life without being bombarded with all those threats and insults.
Well, I think we can probably get used to it. Look, we have more important things to think of. Bridget and Nick need to know that they can still find their way back together.
You don't think it's too soon?
No, not for that baby Bridget's carrying. I'm sure if I could just get the two of them in a room together and get them talking and convince them that you and I aren't going to drift apart in a month.
You don't think that's going to happen, do you?
No. Why?
Just this feeling that I have. Eric, this problem that I have with being intimate.
No, look. Don't worry about that, all right? You and I, our world has been turned upside down. It's going to take a while to get used to, but we'll manage. Here we go.
My daughter loves you. And she is carrying your child. I am not going to be the woman that takes them away from you. I'm not. I'm just not going to do it.
Bridget, it's me again. I really wish you'd return my calls. A lot we have to talk about. So, call me, please.
An Illinois trust?
Yes, I was born and raised in Lake Forest.
We both were, and John Douglas lived there until he died.
Well, the laws governing trusts have changed, but I see nothing to invalidate this one.
Well, how could my husband and I have not known about this? Or is it possible that my father changed his mind?
No, not possible. It's an irrevocable trust, meaning that the grantor, your father, the original trustee, relinquished all rights to the assets he gave to found Forrester Creations. But as beneficiary, you should have received some distribution of income.
Well, yes, we did at the beginning. But then my father died, and so his estate was divided between myself and my sister. And I got what I thought, his half of the company, my husband and I, that is.
Oh, it's not possible either. The trust wasn't part of the estate.
The trust owned Forrester Creations, not John Douglas.
That's right.
Well, then perhaps my father's lawyers weren't aware of it.
Well, either that or maybe they took legal steps to dissolve the trust.
Well, how do we find that out?
Well, a dissolution has to be filed. Now, I've got a friend in Springfield, Illinois. One phone call and a database search should do it.
Could you make that call for me today?
Well, if I hustle. Either way, I'd want some answers from the successor trustee, the person who took over from your father.
Well, who would that be?
Well, it's right here. You didn't see it? It's the Genoa City address, Catherine Chancellor.
Catherine Chancellor.
Wait a minute. Isn't she the...
Of the Chancellor Industries chancellors? Yes.
She and my father were great pals.
Yes, I'm sure that Catherine wouldn't do anything to cheat you out of what your father intended for you.
What do you think?
Well, she may have had the trusteeship transferred into a bank, a foundation.
Or possibly a savings and loan that went down in the 80s. She has an office here in L.A. I'm going to check with them to see how she can be reached. Bill, can I drop you off at your office?
Please. And I'll make that call to Illinois. May I hang on to this? I'd like to give it a closer reading for loopholes.
If you promise me you'll guard it with your life.
Absolutely. I was sorry to read about you and Mr. Forrester.
Thank you.
Does he realize that he may be quite literally nothing without you?
That is a question for another day. I'll call you back as soon as I know anything.
Thank you, Moss. And Mr. Butler, thank you so much for coming
You're
on
welcome.
such short notice.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm running a little late.
So was I. We had a little excitement at the office. Brooke's not here.
Guess the question is, why am I here?
I thought we could have a talk, one father to another, about your future, about Bridget's future.
She didn't want to be with me. She made that clear.
Well, Bridget's angry, but you're the father of her baby.
This is my first time through this, Eric. I don't think I have to tell you that the husband and the father can't always be the same guy.
Well, isn't that up to you? You went to a lot of trouble to convince me that your love for Bridget was genuine, and you succeeded.
Well, it didn't convince her. But let's be honest, shall we? We all know there's different types of love, don't we?
I think I'm in a position to have a pretty good idea of what you felt for Brooke, what you still feel. But you have to know nothing can come of it. Brooke's my wife. And my wife, she will stay.
I'm not clear on something here. So you're saying that you married Brooke so you could prove something to Bridget, and then I married Bridget to prove something to you? Now, this sounds like some kind of experiment in a laboratory. So what does that make me, Eric? Am I the lab rat here?
Nice of you to stop by.
Is it?
I assume you came to say goodbye. Eric told me about your Florida plans.
I'm sure he tells you all sorts of things.
You are leaving.
You know how I feel about rash decisions.
I think it makes all the sense in the world.
Kind of you to say so. However, I'm not sure how well you and Eric will do without me.
What are you doing here?
I was going to ask you the same thing.
Look, I know you're both sick to death of being browbeaten and interfered with, but the two of you have to be talking, for God's sake. You're expecting a baby together.
Why haven't you returned my calls?
I don't know what there is to discuss, Nick.
A lot.
Well, I think it's a little early to talk about visitation rights or making sure our child gets in the right kindergarten, don't you think? I definitely don't need you making sure I take my vitamins.
Bridget, I'm the father of this child. I'm going to be part of his life from day one.
I'm pretty sure that I understand all of that. Dad, I'm just not sure that you do.
Look, maybe it's easier for me to remember how happy the two of you were together. I can't accept that some kind of an agreement is the best you can hope for.
Dad, what? Do you want me to have a third bout of self-induced amnesia? You think that will do the trick? I just pretend that I don't know that Nick and Mom are in love with each other, and this time we'll live happily ever after?
Your mother's spoken for. And you can deny your feelings all you want, but I know you love this man.
Dad, I've wised up. You are now the obstacle between Nick and Mom, and if you think you're doing it for me, just please stop. Come up with another reason for putting yourself in that marriage, but I have taken myself out of that misery. I'm afraid, though, that yours is just beginning.
Florida. I'm not sure what my tolerance for humidity will be.
Well, I hear they still like Americans in Morocco.
And I have this nagging feeling that my usefulness isn't over. You don't agree?
Were you useful when you ruined Bridget's life?
Did I do that? Oh, I thought that's because her husband had the hots for you.
Were you useful when you moaned and groaned and faked your heart attack in order to get Ridge to make a commitment that he wasn't ready for?
He and Taylor are still together.
Were you useful when you brought a gun over to my house to try to get me to kill myself? Just go to Florida, Stephanie. I'm sure you'll find a nice, tanned psychiatrist to help you with all your needs.
I was useful to Eric when this was my office and we built the company from the ground up.
Don't kid yourself. With Eric's talent, a monkey could have made a success out of Forrester Creations. You were just a hanger-on, and now you're not even that.
Dead weight, am I?
Yeah. Only dead weight is a step up. You're just misery to anybody who knows you.
I haven't been hardly the misery to you that I might have wished.
Oh. So now we have it. It's just been a competition against the Beverly Hills matron versus the slut from the valley. And guess who won? I did. That's why you're leaving. You know it, and I know it. Los Angeles just isn't big enough for the both of us, Stephanie. One of us has to go.
So I've always said.
I walked into this marriage with my eyes wide open. I'm well aware of Brooke's infatuation.
Is that what you're calling it?
Yes. Brooke gives herself over completely to the moment. You know that about her.
Is that what she did when she left you for Ridge? She gave herself over to a moment that lasted for years? She says herself what she feels for Nick is even stronger than that.
She didn't appreciate what she and I had together when we were first married. But she and I have a kind of rare communication. It's very rare, really. We're very close to one another, and we speak very easily and honestly. And it's something that Brooke has never had with any other man. Brooke didn't understand then that real happiness can't be found just following every impulse, no matter how strong it is. What she understands now, that happiness has to be built on real things, shared values, and goals, and family. And those things aren't accidental. You have to want them. You have to choose them. Because they're right, and that's what she and I have done. And that's something that you and Nick could still do.
Oh, Dad. You don't choose love. It chooses you first. I did the best that I could, but I'm swimming against the tide. Is that what you want for me again? Is that what you want for yourself?
You hoping to be a threat to my marriage, Nick?
What marriage is that, Eric?
I see. Is that how your conscience works?
Dad, he's just telling you what it looks like to all of us. Like a stage wedding where when the curtain goes down, the actors all go home to their own beds. I notice you and Mom are still living in separate residences.
We'll be changing that soon. We certainly don't sleep in separate beds.
So what, she stays up reading until she's sure you're asleep? Is it something like that?
You're curious about my sex life?
I don't hear anybody asking.
You and Mom are not having sex.
Well, there's something you and I have never discussed. But if you must know, yes. Yes, we are.
Look, let's just put our weapons down long enough to realize what lessons have been learned here.
That when a man is the prize, sex always wins?
Maybe you'll have a better perspective when you move away. Maybe while you're sitting there sipping your tea and playing a round of golf, you'll realize if I smiled a little bit more, or if I had a little bit more warmth, then maybe I would have gotten further.
These are your winning ways. The only warmth that you have is between.
Go ahead and sneer, Stephanie. But it wouldn't have done you any harm to be a little bit more like me.
Oh, and what would that have made me, the slut whore of Boca Raton? You think that you've taken it all from me, don't you?
Your husband, your family, your business, you handed them all to me on a silver platter. But it was your cruelty and your paranoia. That is what made them give you the boot.
No one asked me to leave.
No one asked you to stay. You're not wanted. You're not needed. So why don't you just go? Just go and pack. Oh, and be sure to leave your forwarding address so you know how many people won't miss you enough to write. Yes. For you.
Yes?
Bill Butler just called. Illinois shows no record of the trust ever being dissolved. And that doesn't even show any change of trustee. I mean, nothing like that is on file.
Where does that leave me?
Flight on time? Need a ride to the airport?
Catherine Chancellor has some explaining to do, but as far as the law is concerned, you are sole and rightful owner of Forrester Creations.